You found a ticket for $45. You clicked through 12 screens. The total read $63. That extra $18 was not a mistake. It was the plan. StubHub's service fee runs between 24% and 29% of the ticket cost, on top of everything else. In the District of Columbia alone, that design extracted an estimated $118 million from consumers over 9 years. And 3 days after a federal rule finally banned this exact practice, StubHub did it again. The penalty was $10 million. The company's IPO valuation was $8.6 billion. This is the story of how a fee became a business model, and how a decade of warnings changed almost nothing. StubHub was founded in San Francisco in 2000 by Eric Baker and Jeff Fleur as the first major online secondary ticket marketplace. The pitch was elegant, a safe, guaranteed way to buy and sell tickets from other fans. eBay bought the company for $310 million in 2007, and StubHub grew into the dominant marketplace for resale tickets. The Fan Protect guarantee was the crown jewel of its marketing. Full refunds, no questions, your money is safe. The fee structure, meanwhile, looked like any other platform. A small service charge, standard practice, everyone does it. And StubHub was happy to say so. StubHub is not the only ticket reseller that tacks on fees at the end. The industry ran this way. Consumers were used to it. Regulators had other things to do. But in 2015, StubHub formalized the strategy, deliberately pushing all mandatory fee disclosure to the final checkout screen. That single design decision, that single choice, is what the next decade of litigation would be about. From the outside, StubHub still looked like the good guy, the transparent marketplace, the fan's best friend. The machine, though, was already running, and the first person to formally pull the alarm was not a regulator. In January 2018, the National Advertising Division, the advertising industry's own self-regulatory body, investigated StubHub's fee disclosures. NAD's recommendation was simple: show consumers the total price, including all mandatory fees, up front. StubHub's formal response: it respectfully disagrees with NAD's conclusions and declined to change anything. That triggered the referral to the FTC. Warning number 1. The FTC took no action for 7 years. Now let's pull apart the actual mechanism, the 12-screen checkout maze, trick by trick. Trick 1 of 5, the advertised price. The number StubHub shows in search results is the base ticket price, fees not included. Trick 2 of 5, the countdown clock. On the checkout page, a ticking timer pressures buyers to commit before they can calculate the true cost. The DC AG's 2024 lawsuit documented this in granular detail. 12 separate screens before the fee total appears. Page 1 through 11, event selection, seat selection, account login, delivery options, payment method, no total in sight. Trick 3 of 5, fee magnitude. The service fee alone, 24 to 29%, nearly doubles a low-cost ticket. And there is a separate 15% seller fee charged simultaneously to the person listing the ticket. Meaning StubHub can collect fees totaling more than 40% of the base listed price from both sides of a single transaction. Trick 4 of 5, the language. StubHub's terms describe a service fee, language designed to sound administrative, not extractive. Trick 5 of 5, the sunk cost trap. By screen 12, you have already entered your payment details. Walking away means losing your seat selection, your time, and the listed price, which may not be there when you return. That is drip pricing, by name, the behavioral economics term for revealing costs incrementally to exploit commitment bias. The DC Attorney General put it more plainly, and the email that would cement this case was already 6 months from being written. Schwab, StubHub intentionally hides the true price to boost profits at its customers' expense. Now Viagogo had entered the picture. In February 2020, Viagogo paid eBay $4.05 billion to acquire StubHub. Madrone Capital Partners and Bessemer Venture Partners backed the deal. Eric Baker, co-founder of the original StubHub, was back in the driver's seat. Baker's ownership structure, dual-class shares cementing majority voting control, meant the IPO would not dilute his grip. 1 month after the Viagogo acquisition closed, the world shut down, and StubHub made a decision that would haunt it for years. March 2020, COVID cancels mass events globally. StubHub's Fan Protect guarantee promised full cash refunds. Instead, without consumer consent, StubHub unilaterally switched all refunds to 120% store credit. More than 75,000 consumers across 10 states and the District of Columbia were affected. StubHub's Deputy General Counsel John Lawrence defended the reversal as a response to difficult circumstances. That was the second warning regulators recorded, but the enforcement clock was moving slowly. By September 2021, 10 states and D.C. reached a multi-state settlement, approximately $9.5 to $20 million in total refunds. But StubHub had still not changed its drip pricing design. Not one screen shorter, not one fee shown earlier. The third warning was building in California. 45,000 consumers who had never received their COVID cash refunds. In August 2024, California AG Rob Bonta announced a settlement, $20 million in refunds, plus a $295,000 civil penalty. Bonta. By failing to issue full cash refunds, StubHub not only violated its advertised policy, but also violated the trust of its consumers. 3 warnings, 3 enforcement actions, the fee design, unchanged, and now the federal government was finally moving. On December 17, 2024, FTC Chair Lina Khan announced the final junk fees rule, 16 CFR Part 464, by a 4-to-1 bipartisan vote. The rule required live event ticket sellers to disclose the total all-in price up front, no exceptions, no checkout maze. 60,000 public comments had flooded the FTC during the rulemaking process, the vast majority in support. There was one dissenting vote, Andrew Ferguson, the commissioner who called enforcement under the rule particularly inappropriate. The rule's effective date was set for approximately May 2025, 120 days after Federal Register publication. Meanwhile, StubHub was sprinting toward the stock market, and the company knew regulators were watching. The Form S-1 was filed March 21, 2025, targeting a valuation of $9.2 to $9.3 billion, listing Eric Baker as sole founder. Jeff Floor, Baker's original co-founder in 2000, does not appear in the S-1. His omission is unexplained. The IPO was initially delayed by market turbulence from Trump tariff announcements in early 2025. Then, on the week of May 12, 2025, within days of the fees rule going live, something extraordinary happened. StubHub displayed ticket prices exclusive of mandatory fees, the exact conduct the new rule prohibited, for 3 days straight. StubHub's own statement would later admit listings may have displayed ticket prices exclusive of fees, the exact phrase from the rule. A company racing toward a billion-dollar IPO, with every regulator already watching, violated a federal rule on day 3. Let's add it up. Let's trace every dollar, every court, and every regulator who touched this case. In D.C. alone, $118 million in estimated hidden fees extracted from district consumers since 2015. That is one city. StubHub operates in hundreds of markets across the United States and internationally. StubHub reported $1.77 billion in annual revenue for 2024, the year before it went public. A meaningful slice of that revenue flows directly from the fee structure D.C., California, and the FTC have each called deceptive. The FTC projected that enforcing its junk fees rule across live event ticketing could save consumers more than $11 billion over 10 years. And the settlement StubHub paid for 3 days of violations? $10 million against $8.6 billion in market cap. That is 0.1% of the company's IPO valuation, a rounding error on a Wall Street spreadsheet. Now for the twist that reframes everything. The man who called the junk fees rule particularly inappropriate became FTC chair in January 2025, and his agency still levied this $10 million penalty. Ferguson's dissent said enforcement under the new rule was particularly inappropriate. His agency then proved it had teeth anyway. FTC Bureau Director Christopher Muffarage put it plainly in April 2026. The rule makes it very clear. Total price, upfront, always. Muffarage, the Commission's fees rule makes it very clear that the total price of live event tickets must be disclosed upfront. StubHub's response minimized, a limited number of transactions spanning just 3 days, as if brevity exonerates design. Meanwhile, StubHub's IPO on September 17, 2025, priced at $23.50 per share, raising $800 million, valuing the company at $8.6 billion. Shares closed day one down 6.4% from opening. The market, apparently, had some questions of its own. The timeline of warnings now spanned 8 years. NAD 2018, COVID 2020, multi-state settlement 2021, DC lawsuit 2024, California 2024, FTC rule 2025, penalty 2026. Each enforcement action resolved the immediate harm. None of them rewired the underlying design. StubHub's public position when facing the DC lawsuit: it supports all-in pricing, but only if required uniformly across platforms. Translation: we will show you the real price when every competitor is legally forced to show theirs first. Here is how you fight back, right now, today, before the rules change again. Step 1. Use the all-in filter. On StubHub, toggle all-in pricing in the search filter. It was added as a setting after the DC lawsuit. Step 2. Screenshot the listed price before checkout. If the final total differs from what was displayed, you have a record. Step 3. Under the FTC fees rule, a total price higher than what was disclosed at first listing may be a violation you can report. The FTC's $10 million settlement included a consumer redress fund. Buyers who transacted May 12 to 14, 2025 should check for refund eligibility. Step 4. Alternatives exist. SeatGeek defaults to all-in pricing. Dice and Eventbrite list fees up front. Competition works when you use it. Step 5. If you were denied a cash refund for a canceled event and paid with a credit card, a chargeback is still on the table. Now the systemic question, because the rule only goes so far. And this isn't just StubHub. The exact same playbook runs quietly across entire industries, and almost all of it is perfectly legal. A $10 million fine against an $8.6 billion company is not a deterrent. It is a line item. The math only changes when the penalty scales to the harm. The $295,000 civil penalty California extracted from StubHub was less than 2 hours of the company's 2024 daily revenue. So here's the question: should hiding a mandatory fee behind a checkout wall be a crime with real penalties? Or is reading the fine print just the cost of doing business? Tell me in the comments. And if this opened your eyes, subscribe. I break down a new one of these every week.